I think Zaz would be mortified by everything that just happened right now, where I don't think Zaz knows, because he's not in his seat yet, that all of us were watching him in the green room taking his shirt off, and then at some point he took his pants off.
What?
And there are cameras everywhere around here. All I heard was Chris Cody screaming. Chris Cody was just yelling like, Zaz, Zaz. Zaz doesn't know that he's on video.
I did not like any of that. I felt very uncomfortable right away. I saw his shirt come off, and that was a sight to see. And I was like, okay, if that's where it ends, it's fine. And then he took his pants off. Luckily, he had his underwear on. And from there, I started shouting to the video team, guys, I can see Zaslow.
Yeah, well, no, you brought everyone's attention to, wait a minute. No, it wasn't from there that you started bringing attention to this, because the only reason I looked at any of the cameras is because you were yelling about the fact that his shirt was not on. And
I was being helpful, though. I was not doing it like, ooh, this is fun for me. I was doing it like, I would hate to be in this spot where people were seeing me without me knowing. That's a vulnerable spot.
I think the natural follow-up question is, why is he disrobing in the studio?
That's a good question.
Well, it wasn't in really the studio. This is the studio. He was in the green room, and he thought it was a private area. Oh. And it is usually a private area. If you close the door, it's private, but there are cameras everywhere here.
Right, but that doesn't answer the question, why was he disrobing while on the Le Batard clock?
We'll inform him of all of this when he gets here, because I don't think he knows that we were watching him. We will get to see his face together and notice how disoriented he is and bothered and shocked he is by that. I see just a great deal of unrest in the other studio. None of this sounds as audio the way that it's supposed to. I'm judging just from the horrified look on Roy's face and the fact that Mike just fled the room to go be with a pantless Zaslow.
Have I kept you cool, though? Because I felt the panic, and I was like, guys, we need to keep Dan cool here. So I was like, nothing going on wrong here.
No, I just saw widespread panic on what the audio was here. What's the matter with the audio?
You just sound a little hollow to me right now. I want a more robust Dan Le Batard. But also, you got this weird shadow show voice when you start that's always like way lower on the levels.
Yeah, fix that.
No, don't fix it. It's your trademark. Whatever. We adjust on our end. It could also be because Zaz isn't in the room and we only have those two mics cracked open right now and it sounds different. Widespread Panic is a band.
I thought so. Yeah, I thought so.
He said he saw Widespread Panic. I was like, okay, where? West Palm?
Do you like that band?
First time I'm hearing about Widespread Panic, other than the one that I just saw on the face of Roy and Mike, because
we're playing the hits.
I sounded a little bit hollow.
20 years. I still care like that, Dan. I'm like, that's not a robust mic.
Football is back, Jack. Oh my, we've waited for so long. We're so damn excited that we put it in a song. Don't need no check downs. Give me big hits and quarterbacks. Keep your fantasy team from falling off the track. Football is back, Jack. Whether on the ground or through the air. When the chips are down and you throw a prayer. When your team is primed and on the hunt, it's 4th and 10, you refuse to punt. When the shoulder pads and helmets crack, that's how you know that football is back, Jack. Let me hear you say, football is back, Jack. This high is wild and out of control. And we're gonna ride it every week till we reach the Super Bowl. Don't need no check downs. Give me big hits and quarterbacks. If you say this game's the best, I'll say it's a gag. Football is back, Jack. Football is back, Jack. Football is back.
Show.
Yeah.
Biggest game in 20 years.
History is gone. We are right here, right now. And every team they thought was going to beat us is taking their ass home.
University of Miami.
Another pass play that's intercepted. Taking it back is Keontae Scott.
Ole Miss tackles.
Chambliss lobbing it up behind the defense. Dejan struggling. Tackle from behind.
Well, good enough. There you go. Come to this stadium. Don't come back. No. Oh!
Hello.
Fake break camera show.
We put belt to ass. We did it every week, and we're going to keep doing it until we land back home in our stadium for the national championship. Next week, same deal. Same bat channel, same bat time. Belt to ass.
Just having fun, man.
Malaki. Ho, ho, ho! So did we!
Bro, we only got 30 more minutes. 30 more minutes, we get everything we can work for. Them boys ain't work how we work. They ain't feel how we feel. They ain't cry how we cry, gang. You can see they don't got the energy we got, bro. They don't want it how we want it, bro. 30 more minutes, all we got is
Biggest game in 20 years.
Mass kicks ass.
Fake break camera show.
Zaslow, you look great.
Punt.
You look like no one in Dodgeball, no one in the movie Dodgeball, but you look like you're going for it. And I don't think that you know that while you were getting dressed, we could see you on the cameras taking your shirt off and then your pants off. And Chris Cody was shouting to everyone here.
Trying to be helpful.
And I believe there are human resources violations with the fact that there are cameras everywhere, and there was flat, rampant voyeurism going on as you took your shirt off and then took your pants off.
Yeah.
And Chris Cody did play-by-play where he's like, Chris Cody actually said he's taking his shirt off. I hope he doesn't take his pants off. Oh, my God, he's taking his pants off.
Why is Morgan Spurlock changing our green room?
The late Morgan Spurlock.
I thought I had avoided human resources by asking our makeup girl to leave the room because I don't want there to be an issue. I thought I was doing the right thing here.
You look like you're about to slap John Stossel.
Well, I will tell you, I look like Dr. D.
Dallas Diamond Page.
What a great reference.
David Schultz.
I thought it was Dallas Diamond Page that slapped John.
Diamond Dallas Page. That's a fine.
No, that's a play on for me.
What?
What?
Come on.
That's not his name.
It's a fine.
Freudian.
That's a fine.
He messed up the name, but it's also
famous
the
moment.
It's a different guy. It wasn't DDP.
Dr. D. David Schultz.
Then I'm wrong.
Smacked him up.
You think he was an actual doctor?
It's a question.
PhD.
Something to think about.
Dr. David Schultz does look like Dallas Diamond Page, does he not?
Diamond Dallas Page.
Does he not?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. You get that little blonde curl and the skin that probably should have had some sun protective stuff on it.
Are we going to air the footage of me changing? We're not going to do that.
No, we're not going to do
we
that.
are. All right.
Would you like us to do
Not
that?
really.
I would.
I do feel a little bit exposed here because if I stand up, the pants do a real good job of leaving little to the imagination.
Yeah, we had the side profile, so.
You feel like
drinker.
you are exposed. You feel a little exposed now because you should have seen yourself a few minutes ago when you were on all the cameras in here changing in the other
horrible.
room.
Horrible.
Greg
You all
Cody,
were looking?
Greg Cody, before we get to your University of Miami thoughts and before we get to the Dolphins and the availability of John Harbaugh, I want to know, and I have wanted to know for 24 hours, the nature of your feud with Richie Rosenblatt.
I don't consider it to be a feud. Is this mic on? It doesn't sound like it's on.
It is.
You're fine. Maybe turn up your headphones.
Okay. No, they're loud enough.
So you can hear it. Okay.
No, I can hear it. I don't consider myself to have or have had a feud with Richie Rosenblatt. Now, for several years, I covered the University of Miami full time, and he covered the University of Miami for the then rival Miami News back in the heyday of newspapers. So we had sort of a fierce back and forth. But this alleged thing that happened with me refusing to give him a pen or something, that's lost in time.
Well, it's not lost in time because I mentioned yesterday, and for those who do not know, what happened was in a freezing Buffalo outside the locker room, because Greg Cody had a rivalry with Richie Rosenblatt Rosenblatt's pen froze. Greg Cody had a number of different pens that worked fine and hadn't frozen. Greg Cody would not lend Richie Rosenblatt any of the pens.
Allegedly. You're going to go to Buffalo with Bernie Parmalee. No, as a matter of fact, I don't recall Richie Rosenblatt covering the Dolphins. He covered the Canes. My rival on the Dolphins beat was Charles Bricker.
So did you do this move to Bricker?
I may have.
Funny part about all this is that aren't you now the last person still using a pen in the locker room?
Pretty
like
much.
Writing down your chicken scratch.
Right.
My dad's like quoting them. Like,
do not erase Barry Jackson from the narrative.
Oh, he's still using it?
B-Jax.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
and Ira.
Yeah, there's a few of us left. Dave Hyde occasionally will chicken scratch.
It's such chicken scratch. Like, it's just lines.
No,
How
but
do you read it after?
It's my own hieroglyphic. I can read it. Like, I've never been accused of misquoting anybody. And if it's a very important interview, I'll record it. But a routine interview where Mike McDaniel is eyeing and umming through a post-game talk.
Do you write the ums?
Yeah.
Or
No,
multiple times he has recorded an interview with somebody and forgot to hit record and then needed them to come back and do the interview again.
Oh, boy. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
Happened with Mario Cristobal.
It also happened with the president of the Marlins.
Where he's...
Put it on the poll, please.
Love that.
At Le Batard Show. Do reporters in the locker room still use pens? Yes or no? Because that's not something that I had actually considered. The fact that you would be alone in a locker room using a pen taking notes.
Yeah, and I feel embarrassed doing it, but I do it anyway. But I'm very selective in my quotes. I only write down the things that I think have a chance to get into my column. If somebody is saying some benign comment about we gave it our all, I ain't writing
that's
that
how
shit.
quotes work. Thank you for explaining that to
No,
us.
but some people write verbatim what everybody
no, you
says.
can't. That's not possible to do that.
I think it is possible.
It's not possible to keep up with someone speaking, writing at the same pace that they're speaking.
Yeah,
That's not human.
No, it is.
Greg, it's not humanly possible. What do you mean?
When you have your own shorthand, which I've developed over the years.
I want to play this game where like Dan gives a quote and you do your chicken scratch.
All right,
and then
let's do this now. Let's do it right now. We've got a new budget around here, okay? We've got we're still a growing show. We're still he's got a telestrator now. He's got do it with the telestrator. Try and keep up with me by writing what it is I'm saying because you now have access to a telestrator. I do not believe that you will be able to keep up with us in any way while we speak. Also put this on the poll, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Can you write as fast as someone speaks for 20 minutes? That's the question that's being asked, that Greg Cody is alleging that he could transcribe correctly. There are people who can do it. Like I'm forever amazed by closed captioning before AI took over closed captioning or court stenographers and stuff. I'm amazed by it, but I don't think you could keep up with the written hand. I don't think that that's something that's possible, but we will test it. Greg Cody now has a telestrator that he can play with,
drawing a smiley face
throughout the show, and we've made it's bad judgment to give him the telestrator.
He doesn't have. Do you know how to delete it? Wow, he delete. All right, he knows how to use this thing.
This is one hell.
That's a good job out of you. Like when ESPN started doing that, they throw like Tim Legler in front of the
two
screen.
circles.
It's
no.
very tough.
No, what are you doing?
No.
What are you doing? What was that?
Already?
And it took 10 seconds.
Already?
Those are cherries.
Really?
Those are cherries.
Could have been anything.
Grow up.
It's the best
Grow
Robo
down
Fiesta
is more like
Bowl
it.
preview I've ever seen.
Greg,
What?
10 seconds into the telestrator, you're drawing balls?
I mean, we all root for it when you see two circles on the screen.
Inadvertently, you root for it. You root for it for somebody to do it accidentally. You don't
Somebody
root
had
for
to
it
do
for
it.
someone.
Somebody had to do it.
John Harbaugh is now available, and people were talking about this for weeks. And I know that Miami Dolphin fans are going to be excited about go get the guy who's a giant name and has done some winning. I'd prefer if he came with Lamar Jackson. I actually prefer if the pros just started doing what Auburn and what college football is doing, what Oklahoma State is doing. Oklahoma State just goes and gets North Texas's coach and quarterback. Now Auburn just gets the University of South Florida's coach and quarterback. When they talk about paying Byron Brown more than anybody in NIL, what's that number going to be now? Those numbers are going to keep going up, right? If Carson Beck's between $3 and $4 million a year, and now Auburn wants to get in the game because they've fallen behind everybody in the SEC, and they just steal South Florida's coach and quarterback, where are these numbers going to end up when I'm reading quotes from Drew Rosenhaus, who's representing Byron Brown, and Drew Rosenhaus is realizing, wait a minute, I can get a percentage here on people who are going to be making $3, $4, $5 million because the salaries are now going to keep going up in college football because it's not like Auburn's going to show restraint if they need a quarterback.
It's been reported that Brendan Sorsby kind of set the market at $5 million. It's tricky because even though Steve Sarkisian mentioned, like, I don't know if anybody's actually following the salary cap, but these are capped rosters. They're supposed to be.
No,
anyways.
they're not.
They're supposed to be anyways.
No way.
So you're the way you're supposed to go about it is like, do we really want to pay a Brendan Sorsby $5 million of our approximately $21 million cap? How do we build a roster that way?
So you're going to have a lot of situations like the DeMond Williams situations, are you not? For those that are not familiar, where the University of Washington quarterback it signed and then entered the portal while signed.
Yeah, it was announced that he re-upped with Washington after it was initially reported he was going to entertain the portal, and he had signed his contract, and it's been reported that it is signed, executed, and yesterday it was reported at a bad time because they were doing a celebration of life over at the University of Washington when all this stuff started to break, that he was re-entering the portal with a do not contact tag on it. The early reports suggest LSU is in the mix, and all that was breaking while Sam Levitt was at a basketball game sitting next to Lane Kiffin. Sam Levitt, by the way, also has a do not contact, and he's touring the entire Southeast right now. This is the DeMond Williams.
What does that mean, do not contact? Just like, don't contact me, I'll contact you?
Exactly. But Miami got sued by Wisconsin for what happened with Xavier Lucas. Now, Darren Heitner, the attorney that helps out a lot of athletes in these, has provided plenty of color on the situation, saying that Wisconsin acted illegally in that they didn't allow for Xavier Lucas to enter the portal. This is a different situation. It is a marquee Big Ten quarterback. It's going to get ugly. It's a bit of a shit show.
Well, it's already ugly. All of it's a bit of a shit show. And when I say I understand that there are rules, but there are no rules. Like, no one's going to abide by these rules. $20 million is cheap. If I tell Auburn right now, hey, you can get into the game by skirting some of the gray areas around, we're making up all of these rules as we get along. As we go along, I believe that they're going to just continue breaking all of these rules and testing anyone to try and make them stop, especially when the penalties end up being, oh, you'll forfeit games nobody cares about from a couple of years ago.
Wow.
All the enforcement is toothless.
Right. I mean, Michigan gets to keep their national title. I get it. Also, I think the Auburn thing is kind of a disaster. Deuce Knight is a much better quarterback, and they let him go. I don't bringing over a group of 5 roster to the P4 level. That's a plan. I don't think it's a great one.
I love Byron Brown, like I did as soon as they took him out for the
$4 million. I don't.
Okay, I mean you're in the market of knowing what these things cost. If you watched South Florida play last year, as many of you did, you know that their offense was great when Byron Brown played, and then the moment that he wasn't in the bowl game, they couldn't do anything at all. Like, they have an enormous number of athletes over there. He's somebody I would want as my quarterback.
Yeah, but that's an insane price. Like, who are you negotiating against?
It's only an insane price, though, if we're actually doing a salary cap.
That's correct, Mike. It's only an insane price if you're abiding by 20 and 21 million. And I'm telling you that if I tell any of the big programs right now, if I tell the people who run Auburn, hey, you want to get back in the game in SEC? It's going to cost you more than 21 million. They'll go, give double. We'll go double. We'll go twice that high in order to get into this particular game. I can buy myself into the Ohio State category with $21 million. You got the ASU coach out here begging for money yesterday on the show where he's just saying, one booster, please give us $20 million so that we can get into this game.
I understand why you hope traffic and Oklahoma State, they're in a different situation because they're in the Big 12 and offense is king there, and maybe Messamaker translates into that conference. Maybe they can microwave it. They also got the running back from North Texas too, right? And that guy is sensational. So maybe that translates.
They'll be better, period.
Yeah,
because they can't be worse.
Yeah, I'll go on the record. I think this Scolish thing at Auburn's a disaster. I don't think it like early returns on this. It's not a great situation. Maybe he can program build. He did a good job at USF, and I rated him there. But this is not a good start.
That's on the record.
We do put it on the record, but I would say to you, though, that all it is that you need to do if you're a nowhere program like Auburn this year, a total afterthought in the SEC, there aren't a lot of better options than go get the coach and the quarterback at another school. I'll try and fix it that way. Like, it's one thing. Like, if I told you right now, John Harbaugh is coming to Miami, there'd be a level of excitement. If I tell you it's John Harbaugh with Lamar Jackson, all of a sudden it's a totally different thing. The fact that these programs can now go get a coach and a quarterback and turn everything else in college football into the minor leagues of business is crazy.
Yeah, it's going to need to be cleaned up, but proof positive. Look at the semifinal, how quickly Cignetti turned things around, and he got Fernando Mendoza in the portal, and he already announced that he's getting Josh Hoover next year. All these quarterbacks are transfer quarterbacks. Miami is back legitimately in the game because of this transfer portal and the ability to turn over a roster at the game's most important position primarily.
You're saying it's going to turn around, but like, all right, what's the tipping point? When is it going to turn around?
I mean, the government needs to get its crap together. I mean, things aren't even reaching the floor because they're so flawed. Ultimately, we're headed to Super League, in which a television company or a CFP, some kind of government takes over for some sort of governing body takes over for the NCAA, and you have a group of 50 teams that collectively bargain this stuff, and there are harsh penalties for tampering. And tampering, you mentioned Damon Williams. This is a two-way street, and most people don't know this. And Lane Kiffin is going to be the villain here because people are already teeing off on LSU and Lane Kiffin for being the ones to tamper with Damon Williams. Most of the people talking to other teams right now, and there's about 4,500 players in the portal last I checked, most of the high-end quarterbacks that are taking meetings with teams aren't even in the portal because tampering is a two-way street. It's the agents. It is 100% the agents that are initiating the illegal contact. Yes, are some teams... High-end teams would be stupid not to listen because this is a talent acquisition game. And I would venture to say there are certainly plenty of programs that skirt the rules and initiate contact. Deion Sanders has spoken about this, which is funny coming from him. But, like, this is a thing. But it always will go on, and it's highly convenient that Lane Kiffin is involved in this process in particular because this is an agent thing. Well, Damon Williams signed this contract, and I believe Jed Fish, the head coach at Washington, and Damon Williams are rep by the same agency. Shit show.
The reason that I think all of this is both amazing and fascinating to see happen, because it was right before the pandemic, we were talking about no players were being paid at the beginning of the pandemic. I've seen some of this happen in Hollywood. Agents running things that have no laws. Super dangerous, involving kids and families from poverty. Like, the idea that the agents can step into a breach where there are no consequences.
You think he'll take advantage?
It's crazy. You cannot have this be what it is that's governing college sports and expect anything that resembles order. You mentioned Indiana, okay? And Indiana has a chance here to win the championship as a true undefeated team. Do you know how unusual it is that Miami's got a chance at the championship with 2 losses? like in the history of the sport, I'm going to guess that there have been maybe the history of the sport. Take a guess how many 2-loss champions there are, because
Definitely none before any kind of playoff.
No, well, none before. Obviously, none before a playoff. Les Miles is the last one that I can remember, and I don't know if it's happened before that.
I think Bama recently got in
but that was a 4-team playoff.
Yeah,
Right.
but that's even harder to do with 2 losses.
It's definitely not unprecedented. It's just rare. But you know what's going to happen? I foresee a time, and it's very soon, where the NFL is going to have to completely redo their rookie wage scale to compete with the colleges. Because if you get a situation where a star quarterback can make more money by returning for his senior season than he would as an NFL rookie, that's a problem for the NFL, and they're going to have to deal with that.
Please look up for me 2-loss champions all time in college football, because I cannot imagine that there have been very many in all of the years that this has been going on.
All time, like especially now with a bunch of teams claiming championships
Right.
afterwards. Miami had a team that was a 2-loss national champion, right?
I don't think so.
The team that lost to Florida, or was that a 1-loss?
I don't.
That
I
was a
don't.
one-loss. They lost
there
the
might have
opener.
been a team in the '60s that won a
Jeremy's got it.
According to The Athletic, an article from just around this time last year, there are only 2 teams ever to have won the national championship with 2 losses. 2007 LSU, which lost a pair of triple overtime games to Arkansas and
that still
Kentucky,
BCS?
and then beat Ohio State in the BCS title game. And then 1960 Minnesota, which had lost to Purdue in its second to last game of the year, but moved back to number 1 a week later and was crowned the national champions.
Right.
Cody, was that a good Minnesota team in the 19?
I remember that team, and here's another fun fact. That Minnesota team in 1960 shared the national championship with Ole Miss. Ole Miss claims 3 national championships. The only one they actually get universal credit for is the co-championship in 1960 with Minnesota.
Greg Cody has proclaimed that if Miami beats Mississippi, they will be champions. He's not worried about the next game. He thinks that Mississippi is the difficult game. I'll say something that may surprise you. I'm more scared of Mississippi than I was of Ohio State, because Mississippi does the things well that already beat Miami twice this year with lesser teams and lesser quarterbacks. SMU and Louisville do not do as well what Trinidad Chambliss does well. Nobody stopped Mississippi this year. You will not win this game. You will not win this game with the 10 points against Texas A&M, and I'm not sure you win it with the 24 that you scored against Ohio State either.
Can I ask you real quick? Is that a power move where you're calling them Mississippi? Is that what's going on there? Because if it is, I'm okay with it. I'm just wondering. It feels like a power move.
You're pretty consistent on this, and it's weird because they're famously Ole Miss.
Yeah,
I
Ole
mean, you're
Miss.
not wrong. It's a weird preference.
Yeah. University of Mississippi would be the formal. Why don't you go there?
That's really taking it another
Yeah.
step.
I like Roy's often said why he refuses to do it. Are you doing a Roy thing? Are you an ally?
No, I'll tell you what it is
an
that I'm
ally.
doing. What I'm doing is that my father, whenever it would appear on a script on the highly questionable page, my father would always read it accidentally as Ole Miss. And so I just dismissed it from like any compartment in my head. And
I prefer that, actually.
I just well, that's how Greg says they tackle, as Ole Miss tackles.
They
Like-
do. Ole Miss tackle.
I'm with you though. I'm more nervous about this one, which is a ridiculous.
This sounds
thing to
wacky.
say.
All
It
I've heard
does.
all season is about that Ohio State roster.
Yeah, I mean, Miami was a 9.5-point dog against Ohio State. Miami had to travel to College Station. I understand why it sounds weird, but stylistically, this is difficult. I mean, we mentioned the top 3 passers when it comes to getting the ball out quick. The numbers 2 and 3 were Miller Moss and Kevin Jennings.
That is how Louisville and SMU beat Miami. Get rid of the ball quick, eliminate Massador and Ruben Bain. Eliminate them. In fact, SMU should have won that game earlier. There was a play early in that game where they just called a screen pass where they just lobbed it over the head of Ruben Bain and they didn't connect on it. It would have gone for 80 yards, but the whole game plan was just make sure we get rid of the ball before Ruben Bain can go from over there to our quarterback. And Chambliss doesn't get sacked. He got sacked against Florida, but he doesn't get sacked.
Very elusive. They have a left tackle that hasn't given up a sack all season, but the way that they play also is a reason why they don't give up sacks. But let's look at those games with Louisville and SMU. it's not like these offenses torched Miami. Early, like Louisville goes for a fake field goal that everybody knew was coming and Miami wasn't prepared for. They get lucky on a crossing route, and then Miami settles into that game. Their offense doesn't do much. Louisville wins that game because of 4 turnovers. Miami should win that.
This team is better, and this quarterback
is
better.
I get it. But like,
this defense is not.
But here's the tempo conversation.
Yeah, can't we also say the Canes are better now too?
Yes. Like the tempo conversation, Miami did a pretty good job against these offenses. Well, when you mention SMU, look at the rushing yards from that game. They were negative until OT in that game. And let's be honest now. Now that Miami's built up the credibility in the playoffs, and I'm not just some like wacko yelling head-to-head should matter, Miami lost the game against SMU for one reason and one reason only, the officiating. And I do think one storyline that has gone totally uncovered throughout this run is you cannot ignore the amount of success that Miami's had with referees from different conferences.
You can say that the only reason they lost the game against SMU was officiating, but that game was close, and SMU's not as good as this team, and Jennings is not as good as Chambliss. The 2 teams that beat Miami did so with quarterbacks who are not as good as this one.
I'm also not on team, let's just say SMU's not as good as Ole Miss, while I tend to agree. But SMU, like, let's stop talking about the SEC like they're not capable of losing at SMU.
I'm just talking about what the Ole Miss offense is, Mike. I'm not talking.
Chambliss is a different quarterback. He's the best quarterback that we've faced in 2 years.
We also shouldn't just make Ole Miss a referendum of the SEC. They're the last
They're the last
team standing.
No,
they're a
good
great team.
They're a
like,
really
just
good
like
team.
Miami is.
No, I'm co-signing. I'm nervous about it. They do things, but while the comparisons to SMU and Louisville are fine and accurate, Miami is a different team now, and I think that's very clear.
Maybe, because the team absolutely has been playing better over the last 6 weeks than when it is that it lost, but it will only take a couple of coaching mistakes to remind us that this coach is not someone you trusted before 2 games ago.
Why don't you trust Mario Cristobal? Like,
I think that's false.
What is he messing up on game day?
Historically or this season?
Yeah, no, I'm saying this season. I'm well aware of what history will say and not let him forget. What
Lashley and Braum handed him his head with lesser teams.
No, they didn't hand him his head. Those were 1-score games. And what did they do from an in-game
SMU
coaching
and Louisville are not as good as Miami, and both of those coaches figured out by getting the ball out early, and in Louisville's case, making Beck beat them, and it couldn't because he kept throwing the ball deep when he shouldn't have. Both of those coaches undressed Cristobal with lesser teams.
Okay, a coaching one-score loss is not an undressing.
Well, but the
Canes
Canes were favored by double figures.
Look,
I think it's fair to say.
I think that Miami made coaching mistakes. We were sounding the alarms that we have tendencies. Teams are over these tendencies. And in that SMU game, Shannon Dawson started to mix things up. That was a weird game. Penalties kind of took over. Miami should have won that game, no doubt. But in terms of like game management and clock management, if you're still like touting that Mario Cristobal is a fuck up of a game coach, you're not watching.
I'm saying I am watching, and I'm saying that 2 victories ago, you didn't trust Cristobal in any of these games historically.
And I'm saying from 2 years ago, I have. Miami was in plenty of 1-score games last year, and people just want to say, like, why didn't he go for it against Syracuse? What was that play? Like, he's been good.
I think the question is, are we at a place then, even if you trust Cristobal now compared to the past, are we in a place where if it's the 4th quarter, it's the middle of the 4th quarter, and it's a tie game, are you not saying anymore, I hope that Mario Cristobal doesn't F this up? Are we at that place? And if we're at that place, okay, fine. But I don't know that we're at that place.
In the CFP, there have been 2 instances where I'm like, that's not my favorite. It was the approach to close the first half, the settling for a field goal at College Station that they eventually missed. I think that was more like Carson Beck not wanting to mess around with the win because he had no interest in putting those balls in play. And the one that almost burned Miami was to close, once again, end of the first half, Cotton Bowl. We take a timeout and aid Ohio State's clock management. They end up taking a field goal attempt. They miss it. Miami stays up 14-0. Those were 2 that I think that you can isolate.
And there are plenty of coaches who you don't second-guess that
Right,
about.
but we also do this thing where we don't give him credit for when he gets it right because there's just this narrative that I think is pretty unfair.
We have given him credit. You called him a genius several times earlier this week because he's won the 2 most recent games. One of the issues that they're going to have tomorrow night is that their defensive players are going to get tired. They're going to have to rotate players. The pace that Mississippi keeps is is very fast, and by the fourth quarter, if that game is close, I am scared of what that quarterback can do. I was
100% though, Dan.
I was confused.
But we're different there too. You're worried about rotation? That SMU game, well, I know you're frustrated, but I need to stop you because Miami is rotating players. You're seeing players develop. Marquise Lightfoot is beating double teams now. When Ohio State goes on that run, yeah, they're doing tempo, but Miami is saving guys for the fourth quarter. That is where they're different from midseason.
The thing that I am worried about that's different from midseason is that Mississippi has lost one game this season. They could have beaten and should have beaten Georgia both times they played them. The first time they played them, in the fourth quarter, Chambliss was 1 for 10. And the last time he played him, he couldn't incomplete a pass in the fourth quarter. That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about in the fourth quarter, because Georgia has plenty of rotating defensive linemen as well. In the fourth quarter, nobody could do anything with Chambliss.
Look, we also know their coach is going to be good to go in the clutch, even if he hasn't been a head coach. Because did you guys see what he said yesterday? He was asked about how hectic this week has been. He said, my next door neighbor was Aaron Hernandez. I know this is more chaotic.
Yeah, it's Joe Judge, who's in charge of the game flow operations, and he had a spectacular failure in the Sugar Bowl. I think that Miami's reputation precedes itself, and people think that they're the team that lost to Louisville and SMU. I think if you watch those games back with the benefit of hindsight and knowing how far Miami has come and how they've broken tendencies and how they've changed personnel and how players have developed and what Mario Cristobal and his staff have learned from those games, I think you realize that Miami has the ability to slow this offense down. In fact, when Ole Miss ran up against a team that was a good defense, someone alarm? I'm hearing a car alarm right now.
That might be my car alarm. I don't know what's happening.
That has
out
to be.
there.
Your car's
the closest car here.
Yeah. They played Oklahoma. They played Oklahoma and beat Oklahoma. And I've listened to a lot of Ole Miss. I've listened to a lot of Ole Miss podcasts invoking.
Wow.
And it's off.
That's a fine right there. Imagine if that happened to
That's
me.
amazing.
Yeah, that's worse.
That's true. That's a good
worse than
point.
a text message going off.
I didn't set off the alarm.
I think
of
that's
my car.
$100 fine.
That's a $100 fine.
$100 to everybody.
That's
Is that in the rule book?
$1,000
Did you just unlock the door for the person out there breaking in?
Yeah. We should check up on your car. Ole Miss, good about tempo, one of the fastest teams in the nation. They had their slowest pace of the year when they played Oklahoma, the best defense that they face, a defense that they compare a lot to Miami's. But I also think you should pay attention to what Lane Kiffin said after that game, because he apparently was holding the ball because he was weary of Brent Venables stealing signs.
All right, the way we're talking about Trinidad Chambliss, and my God, I can't wait for this game, mainly because I'm tired of hearing about Trinidad Chambliss. How quick it's John Elway, apparently, that we're going up against on Thursday nights. But if the way we're talking about Trinidad Chambliss, it sounds like this is the most difficult game the Canes are going to have then.
This can't be true. Like, I know what you guys are doing, styles, but the roster's here.
I disagree with that. I don't think Ole Miss is as good as Indiana or Oregon, but if they get past Ole Miss, which I think they will, they have a home game, and UM does not lose home games for the national championship.
I just said earlier that I fear this game more than I feared Ohio State, and they were a 9.5-point dog against Ohio State. And the reason I'm saying that is only because Ole Miss plays the style that already beat Miami twice better than the two teams, Louisville and SMU, who beat Miami with that style. If you knew, the reason Miami is here is pass rush. It's not we can say running game. We can say Carson Beck's been a game manager. The reason they're here is because they've got 2 first-round picks as edge rushers, and if you play a style that's super fast and also the quarterback gets rid of it very fast and doesn't get sacked and doesn't throw interceptions, I'm just scared of that. I think you're going to need to outscore them in a high-scoring game. I don't think defense wins this game.
I get it. No, defense is going to have to win this game, but also important for you and the audience. Let's stop pretending like Louisville and SMU are the only teams that play tempo against Miami. Miami's run up against most of the teams in their on their schedule play high tempo,
but it's
and
not
Miami's
tempo.
fine.
But it's not tempo the tempo is not what worries me. It's the quarterback getting the ball out so fast is what worries me.
Miami's played a few of those.
As soon as I saw what Braum was doing with Louisville, as soon as that game started, I was like, oh shit, he's making sure that Ruben Bain can't wreck this game. He's not trusting his quarterback. He's telling his quarterback, just throw it to Bell, the first round pick, as quick as you can on slants and make sure that Reuben Bain does not take the ball in the other direction. And so as soon as that started happening, it puts the game in Carson Beck's hands. How do you guys feel right now about that, about the idea that this game might come down to you need Beck to be better than Chambliss?
Oh, you don't. I think Beck has been really smart, and Beck has fundamentally changed himself to the point that you can call him a game manager. I think his greatest asset right now is checking into runs. He's a very smart quarterback. Teams are daring him to find holes in the zone. He has totally reshaped the way that he plays. I think he's going to have to play his best counting numbers game of the playoffs, because I do think this offense will be challenged early on to keep pace, something that they've had the luxury of not having to do. But Carson Beck has totally reshaped himself.
I really think you got to give Beck a lot of credit, because it seems that you're right with everything you're saying there, and everything that he's doing and the way that he's changed his game is absolutely for the betterment of the team, and it is worse for his future as an NFL prospect.
Well, it's a little bit crazy when you consider it, actually, Zaz, because it would be totally normal for any college kid after playing that FSU game where FSU is daring them to throw deep with their corners, playing one-on-one coverage, to get filled with yourself. You're unbeaten. You're a top 5 team in the country, and you love the deep pass because you get to show off your arm. That seems like it'd be a great deal of fun. For him to go from that to the humbling of, no, I lost the Louisville game. That's my fault. They're not better than us. We're playing that game at home. We're down 9 in the fourth quarter and only in the game because we're recovering a fumble we never should have had because our quarterback threw us all in a ditch. The pain of whatever that wallowing was, to change a kid who could fall in love with, wait a minute, I'm a star quarterback. I'm the highest paid quarterback in college football. People want me. They know my name. To go from that to Alex Smith,
it's impressive.
It's a big ask.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Jeremy, can you please tell me who led college football in yards per game this season? Because I know Mississippi was second, even though Chambliss wasn't the starter at the beginning of the season. They average almost 500 yards a game. They're putting up 40 points a game in the CFP, and it's very different. Miami has held its 2 college football playoff opponents to 17 combined points, and it has, 2 scoreless halves in there.
That would be the future Oklahoma State, North Texas Mean Green.
And USF is third on that list, and FSU is, what, 6th on that list? Two teams that play tempo, two teams with, if you look at the numbers, good quarterbacks. Not a quarterback like this. I wholeheartedly agree. Great quarterback. But Miami does hold teams that play with tempo in check.
You guys got me all.
Defense.
You guys got me all scared, thinking that these two teams with pace, and now Mike's to everyone they played with. Like, come on, what are we doing here?
But Miami led the game against FSU by 25 points, and then in the fourth quarter, FSU scored 19 points by running 36 plays in 9 minutes of game time.
100%.
Like, it's a problem.
100%. And that, to your rotation point, I'd be worried about that. Ruben Bain, for as great as he is, I wouldn't categorize him as this high motor player every snap. Like in that FSU game, what did he play? 76 snaps in that game? Miami, and Corey Heatherman has spoken to this. They had to learn to bring guys along online. Guys like Herbert Scroggins, guys like Marquise Lightfoot and Armando Blunt, they were not checking into the game at that time.
We're still doing the whole snaps.
How many games did he play?
There were a number of times. There were a number of times this season, including during the Texas A&M game, Mike, late in the Texas A&M game, where I'm watching Ruben Bain. He was just sort of wandering around out there because he's tired.
Which is why we needed rotation, development, and depth. At the start of the season, I said I don't think Miami has enough on their roster right now to win a national title because I don't believe they have the depth. And I would have continued to say that all the way through SMU. And then something clicked. Look, Justin Scott has really come on the defensive line. 5-star.
You know about Justin Scott?
Marquise Lightfoot. I saw Marquise Lightfoot in Green Tree, and I was like, who is this guy? This guy doesn't look like he's going to amount to anything. His waist is super small. He was I'm like, that's
he looks thin.
I'm like, that's what a 5-star is supposed to look like? Dan, his waist is doubled in size, and he's learning from Jason Taylor, who, if anyone can teach how a slender man how to rush the passer, it'd be him.
You know about that double in size waist?
And now he's making impactful plays against top-end competition. This is why I'm saying, like, if you want to talk about Miami against tempo, if you want to invoke those games, be fair to. I'm nervous about it too. Hell, I'm one of the first people to invoke SMU and Louisville when it came to this opponent. You have to appreciate that Miami is a totally different team from even a personnel standpoint, not just from a tendency standpoint.
Do you appreciate it?
They have different players.
You don't appreciate it. Le Batard does not appreciate how good Miami is.
You need to appreciate.
And listen,
That's why Cristobal comes on Greg Cody's show.
I didn't want to say
Sazlo
it.
Show 2.0 also.
Okay, there
Not
you go.
this one.
And Kane's insight.
Oh, imagine that. What's
Yeah,
the one
wow.
he didn't come on?
Huh. Imagine that. No, because you're a negative guy. You know, I say Mario Cristobal, and you think of the way the Georgia Tech game ended 2 years ago. You got to get past that. We're also obsessed with the fact that this quarterback throws fast. Miami's got an excellent defense, not a very good one, an excellent defense, especially against the run, much better than last year against the pass. And one other thing we haven't mentioned is that, look, people are calling them Ole Miss tackles a reason. For a reason. Ole Miss is half a team. They have a bad defense. Miami's Brobdingnagian line is gonna control the line of scrimmage.
What's that word? Can
Brobdingnagian.
you write it on the telestrator? How do you spell
that out
that?
for
How
us?
do you spell that word?
I'll
What does
spell it
that
out
what does
for you.
that word mean?
It means the University of Miami has 5 giants on the offensive
But
line.
what is the word? Say it again.
Erase.
It's
Check out the Greg Cody show.
Brobdingnagian. Brobdingnagian.
That's one word or 2 words? Is that someone's name?
No,
What is that?
It's one word.
That's a verb?
All right, here we go. So B.
How many letters are
R.
I'm about to spell it.
That's talk it out as you spell it.
That's probably one of those adverbs.
Ding.
Say what you're spelling. Write your letters.
Brobding.
Spell it out.
Nagian.
Audio.
Can you say the letters?
Brobdingnagian.
That is not a word.
Miami has a Brobdingnagian offensive line, and Mark Fletcher is going to run for days against that defense. They're going to control the line of scrimmage, the TOP. That's why Miami's going to win this game.
Brobdingnagian. Adjective. Gigantic.
Put it on the poll, please. Have you ever heard anyone use the word Brobdingnagian before?
One last point on Ole Miss. I don't think they're just a quarterback team. They got plenty of talent. He likes to spread it around. They got really good wide receivers. But the player that I'm worried about, there's been one running back that really hurt Miami, really hurt. And he was getting outside on the perimeter, which is not something that we often see. It was Brown from Louisville. Kewan Lacey is a really fantastic football player. He can bounce it outside. I know he's coming into the game carrying an injury, but he's got power. He's a complete back, and he can hurt Miami.
Do you realize, Greg, that when you said that, I thought that you were referencing a former Giant player. I thought it was 3 words. I thought his name was Bob Nagian and his nickname was Dig. I thought his middle name was Dig. I thought it was
Ding,
for sure.
not Dig.
Okay,
Ding.
It sounded like Dig.
You use a 15-letter word when you could just say big.
Yeah, that's
Right.
well.
Or
No,
praise me, one or the other.
Jeremy's an ally there.
I love that.
Yeah, I know. Why use 3 letters when you can use 15 words?
Damn
That's
right.
the Jeremy philosophy.
Greg, I know.
Relax.
Look, you got this weird 2-0 attitude when what's gotten us here is 1-0.
Looking ahead.
You're looking ahead, and you're citing history in terms of Miami's never lost a national championship game at home. If you want to play that game, don't Google their history in the Fiesta Bowl.
Oh, don't do it.
Greg's looking ahead. Dan's looking back to Georgia Tech a couple of years ago. I mean, it's just
Put
not
it on the
good.
poll at Le Batard Show. Do you now trust Mario Cristobal implicitly to win the big game?
I'd vote yes.
I want to go back to what it is that happened yesterday in Baltimore after 18 seasons. The Ravens are one of the most stable franchises in all of sports. And Dominique Foxworth proclaimed himself, and this bothers me when people do this, as shocked but not surprised.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can be shocked without being surprised. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Can you be shocked without being surprised? Even though I understood what he was saying, because people were talking for a while that Harbaugh might be in trouble there. But the thing that I want to put in front of you guys is the following, because I didn't remember this. I had to go look it up to get the specifics of how it is that the last 4 Ravens seasons have ended, okay? The last 4 of them. Because obviously, in the last game, you've got Loop missing a field goal, and Pittsburgh gets into the playoffs. And I don't believe any of us would honestly say that Pittsburgh is better than Baltimore. We'd say Aaron Rodgers, the old guy, played all the games. Lamar Jackson didn't. Therefore, Pittsburgh is in the playoffs. I guess Rodgers missed 1 game, but Lamar Jackson not being himself is the reason that Baltimore's not in the playoffs. So, a missed field goal at the end, which doesn't make them actually any worse. They'd be in the playoffs. That's how this season ends. Last season ends. They're in Buffalo. They got the 2-point conversion. Mark Andrews drops it at the goal line. That's how that season ends. 2023, Zay Flowers, goal line fumble when they're down 17-7 against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. And then 2022 with Tyler Huntley, right? With their backup quarterback. I don't know if you guys remember this wild card game at Cincinnati. He fumbles 3rd and goal at the Bengals 1, and it's returned 98 yards for the game-winning touchdown. That's how their last 4 seasons have ended. What does that have to do with Harbaugh?
I get what you're saying, but in going back in time, Dan, you're showing a downward trajectory. They have been getting worse and worse. I think it's pretty clear that Lamar Jackson is diminishing a little bit. And keep in mind, Lamar Jackson saved John Harbaugh's job. They announced a parting of ways, John Harbaugh and the Ravens. Lamar Jackson came in, lit the world on fire, and they decided, you know what? Let's keep this together. We're not going to part ways. And then the Ravens are in the conversation. But how much more talent did that Ravens team need to have for people to start worrying about John Harbaugh? What does he bring to the table? He's a special teams guy. I think his greatest skill, the Harbaugh name, they build great staffs. But people poach those guys. Is this guy a Mike McDonald merchant? I don't know how you could look at the last year of Baltimore Ravens football and be like, no, this guy's ready to go. I understand why he's a hot candidate. He's a Super Bowl champion. So is Brian Billick. And I'm not making that comparison. I'm just saying this is catnip for Miami Dolphin fans. As soon as I saw that news, I thought that Greg Cody had the Lamar Jackson, John Harbaugh, go get him article written in drafts.
Well, but you can't do the Lamar Jackson, John Harbaugh, go get them when one of the main reasons Harbaugh was fired was likely because Lamar Jackson didn't want him to be his coach anymore.
Well, Lamar Jackson had a bad season, and good quarterbacks have bad seasons. We've said that about Tua, who I don't put in anywhere near Lamar Jackson's class, but The Ravens have been a respected, well-run franchise until now. The idea that they fired John Harbaugh because a kid kicker missed a 44-yard field goal, which is tantamount to an extra point. It's a chip shot in the modern NFL.
I object to that.
It's a chip shot.
Greg, let's not minimize this saying that it's because a kid missed a field goal.
It absolutely is.
They lost 8 other games.
They had 8 wins. That's why he's available.
Tyler Poop.
Because Lamar Jackson was injured for a third of the year,
They had
and
2 Pro Bowl quarterbacks.
he had a bad season.
That's
Lamar
garbage.
Jackson.
That is garbage. What you just did there is garbage.
They put
Making
up 8 wins
Huntley a
with
Pro
2.
Bowl quarterback. You made Huntley a Pro Bowl
please.
quarterback just because 7 other guys dropped out. That's nonsense what you just did there. What is happening here, Greg, where Mike Ryan is accurately accusing you of having that column already written? Because Dolphin fans are going to absolutely want just the Harbaugh name.
Okay.
It's just so silly.
I want to know, by the way, Greg, like when the Harbaugh news comes out, what's the process? Like, are you already home? So it's like, okay, let me go sit in front of the computer. Or are you out and you go home and get in front of the computer?
Or did you have it pre-written weeks ago?
No, it was not. It was not pre-written because I didn't think Harbaugh would be fired. I didn't think Baltimore was that dumb. I said on this air yesterday that the problem I have with the fire the coach mentality is that every time somebody says to me, and it's happened thousands of times, fire blank coach, fire McDaniel, and I'm like, who's next? And the answer is always anybody, which is not helpful in the least. In this case, the possibility that John Harbaugh is next, if I were the Dolphins, I absolutely would get in line to hire John Harbaugh instead of Mike McDaniel.
Well, let me ask this question because I think the media at large does a wildly terrible job of really understanding what it is that coaches do and why it is or how it is that Harbaugh's 16-hour day provides advantages for him that Mike Tomlin can't figure out with his 16-hour day. I think all of that stuff that we do is very poorly done. What is John Harbaugh bringing specifically that you say, I believe that skill is something Mike McDaniel doesn't have and will never have? Like, give me what the things are that you think are coming with him that I suddenly, because I think that Harbaugh name has some fairy dust and it's just something that's exciting, but that you say that just because he's won there. And I don't think, as we just saw with Pete Carroll and countless others, I don't think you can actually take it with you wherever you go. I don't believe that. I believe that the Raiders' job is a bad job, and I believe that the Dolphins' job is a bad job because they don't have quarterbacks.
I don't disagree with that. I think what you get in John Harbaugh is a man with a fairly impeccable reputation. If you're a big free agent, and maybe it's a free agent quarterback, would you rather play for John Harbaugh or Mike
Lamar
McDaniel?
Jackson doesn't want to play for him, and free agents go where the money is.
I feel like a quarterback might say Mike McDaniel, though, just in
kidding?
terms
Of
of running
course.
the offense.
Can I take a stab at answering the question from talking to other Dolphin fans? And Greg does a great job at that. I think John Harbaugh certainly gives off leadership more than Mike McDaniel. And when you're twisting in the wind looking for answers and you have the stammering uhs, I think people are like, let's get an adult. And this is an adult that has a Lombardi trophy to his name. This is like catnip for Miami Dolphin fans. They always fall in love with the big name savior, whether they get him or not, whether it works or not, because they feel like that's a way to dig them out of this. But again, look at the seasons. Mike McDaniel had one less win with a far less talented roster in a much more difficult division, I think. And yeah, the Ravens had adversity. They had injuries. They also have a really deep-ass roster. Mike McDaniel did a pretty good job when you compare it to the job that John Harbaugh just most recently did.
We pull a Virginia Tech, we hire John Harbaugh, and we keep Mike McDaniel as our offensive coordinator.
That has to be so weird for Brent Pry to be like the next year, you're fired as coach in the middle of the season and you come back as coordinator under James Franklin. That has to be so weird for him to sit in the corner and look at some of the same players and be like, you've been demoted because you're not good at your job. You were let go.
My favorite, I see this all the time, like even over the last 24 hours since Harbaugh has been fired. How about the Dolphins hire Harbaugh and make Mike McDaniel the offensive coordinator?
Yeah, that's what we just said.
Yeah.
That's what we were saying.
There are fans that want that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and it makes sense. It's logical.
No, it doesn't.
It makes absolute
None
sense.
of that makes sense.
No, it
I'm
doesn't.
not saying Mike McDaniel would agree to that, but it would be a perfect marriage. Mike McDaniel is a classic example of a great offensive mind who may or may not be head coach material.
Okay, I want to stop you guys just because of this, okay? I asked you a question that asked for some empirical things I can hold on to as to what it is that Harbaugh brings here. And Mike said gives off leadership, and you said impeccable reputation. That's shit. Like, that's nice. It's optics. It has nothing to do with Sundays. Like, gives off leadership?
What are you
impeccable reputation?
You're looking for a guarantee? There's no guarantee.
I'm not looking for a guarantee. I'm looking for vision.
I'll take a stab at it. For one, I would fire Mike McDaniel today. All right.
Again,
well,
this is
yeah.
Can we get the counter up?
This is the
Thank you.
50th straight day where you have
Is it that
fired
many?
Mike. It might be more than that. I don't.
I'm
know
not
what
keeping
they-
track. I mean, just
It is 48, and we are moving, I
I
believe,
would
now
fire
to
him
49.
today.
Right. Okay.
Mike
Oh, wow,
McDaniel.
49.
Like you would the last 49 days as well.
Like
Here's-
my countdown. Where's my click? Go on.
Here's the thing. That's my gimmick. Here's the thing. All 4 Stephen Ross hires at coach, they're all first-year rookie head coaches. They're all coaches with no experience. It's Philbin, it's Adam Gase, it's Brian Flores, and now it's Mike McDaniel. All of them. 0 experience. None of them have worked. Give me a guy who's got some experience.
Hello.
Give me somebody who's done it. This is something different. This is something new. Now, with that said, Stephen Ross has no chance of being able to land Harbaugh.
He's a Michigan guy.
He's not. No, he's not. He did not go to Michigan.
No. Stephen Ross is a Michigan
Yes.
booster.
Right.
But Harbaugh's not.
Well,
the
his daddy
Harbaugh
is.
name, pal.
He didn't go to
Jim is.
The
Michigan.
great Harbaugh name.
He didn't go to Michigan.
Stephen-
The great Harbaugh name
Stephen-
is Michigan.
Stephen Ross tried to hire.
What are we doing?
All right.
What are we-
hire Harbaugh's mom.
You think Stephen Ross is like, that guy has nothing to do with Michigan? Come on.
His daddy has to do with Michigan, and so does Jim. Stephen Ross tried to hire Jim. Same DNA. You didn't get Jim, now go for John.
So Stephen Ross never gets the big hire. He's never been able to get the big hire. And you think after trying to court John, an actual Michigan man, is he Jim or John? I always
Jim
get it.
is the Michigan
Jim.
guy.
Trying to court Jim several times, who's a real actual Michigan man, and fails. You don't think that John's like, hey, Jim, why didn't you want to go work for that guy? It's like,
You know
"Oh,
why
I
they
got kind of a
failed?
kook."
You know why they failed? You want to Google like what happened around the pursuit of Jim Harbaugh and how dicey that was? It's like, I understand.
They're literally in the same scenario right now.
I understand why you accuse Stephen Ross of not being able to get the guy, and he has very famously fumbled it, but like his problem is that he's too aggressively trying to get the guy. Like
So he
he
tries
did
too
with,
hard?
Maybe he's
like-
playing it cool right now.
Like he did with like Tom Brady. The Jim Harbaugh thing he would have got if he played it way cooler.
So he should pretend like he's not interested.
Play hard to get.
I understand why it is that everybody wants the experienced coach. You want a name, you've seen someone do it before.
Proven, not just experience.
But you say this, but 6 of the 32 NFL teams have made the postseason the last 3 seasons. 6 of them. Sirianni, McDermott, McVay, the Texans, D'Amico Ryan, Mike Tomlin, and I'm forgetting one.
These are the 6 that have made it consecutive years.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find
Tomlin
LaFleur.
and LaFleur. That's
well,
right.
you're in the costume, pal.
McDermott and Tomlin are the only ones there that would classify as experienced when they were hired 3 or 4 years ago.
Right.
The other guys were all young guys, and I don't think that anybody right now would want McDermott. Mike is so disappointed in you for not doing LaFleur. For not doing
You
LaFleur.
haven't seen the movie.
I've never seen the movie.
But like, it's a line from the movie.
Cool.
I've
You're
never
dressed
seen
as a
it.
guy. You should have said LaFleur.
Like the odds that we could get to a specific dodgeball reference
Organically.
is impossible.
I already
and
told
yet we
you.
got there.
I refuse to watch the movie. You built it up too much. It can't be as good as you built it up. I'm not watching it.
My question to you stands, though. In the instance that I just mentioned, all of those teams went with somebody that wasn't experienced other than, well, Tomlin wasn't that experienced either when the Steelers hired him a million years ago. And McDermott isn't somebody that anybody would want, even though he's got probably the best winning percentage in the sport.
Right.
So you want an experienced guy, but the people who are having the success, that's not how we're doing it anymore. Like we are going and getting young coaches who are the next thing, who can scheme it up and are visionary masterminds.
But
and
Ross never makes the right choice. He's shown he can't find that visionary mastermind.
Right. He's been looking for the next Ben Johnson or Liam Cohen.
He's 0 for 4.
And is 0 for 4. That's a good point
Why is it
by
always
you.
offensive guys? I get it, but like the track record of getting the brilliant young
Flores was defense, though.
I mean, he's so highly regarded, and credit to him, he was on Tua's ass before anybody. I think that defensive minds are probably where you go, look, it's all a crapshoot. I know I speak with conviction. I don't know how this works out. I don't know who's the best hire. Mike McDonald worked out pretty good. I like the way the defensive coaches are working right now, and I understand the Dolphin thing. It's like catnip. That's a big name. That's a big surname. But the one that escapes me as to how this isn't like a bigger thing when I talk to Dolphins fans is, you want to talk about surnames and young, brilliant minds. Chris Shula is right there. What do we do? This one's
A lot
easy.
of expectation right there.
A lot of expectation. No one remembers Don Shula down here. No one remembers. Like, they all look like Greg, the people that remember the cobbler. No one remembers the expectation.
Cobbler.
Like, this is a homecoming. This is a great story. He's worked with Sean McVay. He's highly regarded. Well, this feels perfect.
Speaking of looking like Greg, I have something I want to go to here and present to the YouTube audience in a second. But I don't believe that many people who are watching football the last 2 years would have said that what you need to do if you have Sam Darnold or Geno Smith as your quarterback is go get somebody who's so good at coordinating defenses that he can turn Seattle into what it is Seattle's been turned into, even though they haven't had a quarterback that anyone would trust at the top of their food chain. What Seattle did, I don't know how excited do you imagine that Seahawks fans were a couple of years ago with that hire? I know that he was one of the names, like with Ben Johnson, he's supposed to be the whiz kid, but that's not experience, Zaz. That's not what we're talking about. Like, everybody wants whatever it is that Andy Reid brought over there, but I just don't think that that's the way that league is doing it anymore.
I'm not even disagreeing. The part that I think we don't see eye to eye is Stephen Ross, not the NFL. Stephen Ross has not been able to identify that next young great coach. So since Stephen Ross is not capable of finding that guy, I would like them to get someone who is proven to be a good coach.
Mike McCarthy.
Agreed.
Mike McCarthy?
Jason Garrett.
Anybody? Mike McCarthy? That's what you want? You want experience?
You'd rather have Mike McCarthy than John Harbaugh?
No,
You're insane.
No, I'm joking. It's I don't want experience in a name just because it's an experienced name. It's not what I want.
Okay, there's 7 head coach openings in the NFL right now. I don't think it's a coincidence that yesterday Harbaugh's agent says we've been contacted 7 times by 7 different teams. And it's not just teams that need a head coach, it's other teams. Not saying Miami is one, but I guarantee you more than 7 clubs are interested in hiring John Harbaugh, and they should be. Okay, and you may think those 7 clubs are all wrong for inquiring about
I know
Harbaugh.
all those 7 clubs are bad and unstable, and so they want anything that feels like stability, and that is a call.
You'd want to talk to Harbaugh, wouldn't you?
Yes,
like,
of course.
That's what I mean. Like,
Whatever.
I think it's like bringing him in to like talk to him. I think is fine.
Well, how about
while
this?
you have a coach.
Well, how about this? There's a Yahoo report saying that Phillip Rivers might be a head coaching candidate. Wow. Do you want to interview him?
Dan?
Hit the white guys button.
Yeah, no experience, Dan.
Do you have to adhere to the Rooney Rule if you're presently sitting Mike McDaniel in the cuck chair, making him watch this entire thing?
Yeah.
It's like Zaz with Billy Crystal.
I don't play that game. Everybody knows I'm not a cuckold.
If people want to tell me, like in the example, the Mike McDonald and not exciting people, although Mina Kimes was all over that. She was hyping him up for a long time. Mike McDonald is actually an argument for John Harbaugh, because it seems as though the Harbaughs are really good at identifying coaching talent. Now, maybe that is a skill that they can't replicate year over year. Maybe they found all the good ones and can't find any other good ones. But your hope is that John Harbaugh would bring in the next Mike McDonald.
So let me just close the loop on this by asking all of you this. I saw Jeremy smile as soon as I said loop and know what he was thinking over there. It annoys me to have that.
That's why we're talking about Harbaugh.
I can't even smile.
Kid kicker misses that chip shot field goal.
The-
They fire
the-
the coach.
And then the coach walks him back with his arm around him.
Come on.
This is what I want to present to all of you, because I believe most of the people listening to this would be able to discern for me what the gulf of difference is between Patrick Mahomes as a quarterback and whoever it is that you think is the 10th best quarterback. Do you feel like you can do that with coaches? Like, do you feel like, because when you're sitting here talking about the identifying of future coaches, okay, Mike McDaniel is Kyle Shanahan's guy. That's the guy. Everybody wanted a Shanahan guy when Shanahan was the one doing the winning. So do you think that we or the people in this audience can tell me appreciably, not based on what it is that you've seen Baltimore do with Lamar Jackson, how John Harbaugh is better than whoever is regarded as 10 spots below him? And whatever that difference is, do you view it as that valuable and that difference making that when you're making the argument gives off leadership or impeccable resume, you feel like you got a good handle on, if I put this guy in my locker room and I still don't have a quarterback, I am doomed at quarterback. I can take that guy, put him here, and I'm going to be able to feel better than somebody who's 10 spots worse than him. I just don't feel like anybody can do that listening to this, and I don't feel like anybody in this room can do it either.
Aikman could do it.
I also just don't understand, because you hire Harbaugh, right? And you know you don't have a quarterback. So that means you're bringing him in with the idea of we're going to give him a very long leash to figure this out because he's leader guy. McDaniel was the phenom that you guys are talking about. He came in and he turned Tua, who Brian Flores said was a nobody, into a superstar when their roster was better. This roster stunk. So what'd you do? You fired the GM, which is the right move. And now, to me, what you should do is give McDaniel another opportunity with a different quarterback and a better built roster with that leash that maybe you're going to give Harbaugh to go back to being the wonderkind that you actually did hit on. You've never done it before, but this time you did.
They're likely going to do that because they're not going to land Harbaugh, like I said.
No.
Just like 15 years ago, by
no
the way.
chance
Same
of landing
thing.
Harbaugh. But just without context, because what you're saying makes sense, but without context, you can have John Harbaugh coach your team or Mike McDaniel coach your team. Which would you want?
I'd like McDaniel because
Oh,
I
okay.
think that
I
the
disagree.
last several years of John Harbaugh have been boosted by having one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game.
Okay, but he
at
won a
his
Super
peak.
Bowl also before Lamar Jackson.
He did.
Great defense.
He had,
Matters.
he had a great defense, and Joe Flacco got
And
really
a very
hot.
stable organization that built him a great team.
What I just want you guys to sort of marinate in this, because I know these things happen very quickly and people become dumb very fast, okay? If you told me simply, hey, I've got a coach who can make Raheem Mostert score 18 touchdowns in a season, I want that. And I don't know that Harbaugh can do it. I know he can do it with Derrick Henry. I don't know that he could do it with Raheem Mostert. And I saw that happen. But I understand what happens here where you end up under 500 and everybody forgets everything that happens. And now somebody else's trash is your savior. Of course, all of the losing teams in the league are going to call Harbaugh. Vrabel had to sit out a year. Like, Vrabel sat out a year because everybody was just sort of running around over the few job openings. Every year, there's like one coveted guy and 10 teams who need a coveted guy. 10 teams that need the optics of gives off leadership.
I guess I'm putting value on the distinction between Mike McDaniel seems to be a guy who is able to coach the quarterback, but I don't know if he's been able to coach the entire team, while Harbaugh, it seems he can coach the entire team.
That's fair.
Or he can hire a great offensive coordinator if he doesn't feel like that's his
We've got to fix the
expertise.
Dolphins. Get me Adam Archuleta as fast as you can so that we could just start interviewing
But not Aikman.
random broadcasters. No, the Dolphins have
Don't need Aikman.
they have Aikman on a stipend. They've got him under contract. Let's just get an assortment of other broadcasters to come in here and tell us what the Dolphins need to do. Start with Adam
all right.
Archuleta.
Guest booking. Can you get on
Get-
that?
get-
Is this alphabetical?
Who would come? Get me Ala Abdul Nabi.
in hearing you guys talk it out, again, I'm not a Dolphin fan, and I don't know what the right move is. We're talking this one out. But as we talked it out, I'm like, why would John Harbaugh pick Miami?
That's fair.
He wouldn't.
Retirement spot.
He wouldn't.
He had a really great career because of the stability of one of the best front offices in the sport, and he comes and he walks into a total mess with a bad cap situation because they got a dead weight quarterback that is going to be near impossible to move. They're going to have to take a huge cap hit on it. If I'm John Harbaugh, I know it's Miami, but and if I have 7 teams interested, there's got to be a better spot than this.
We talked about this yesterday, right? When it comes to salary caps and Stephen Ross, who's in his 80s. I'm not trying to kill him off, but he's got more money than anyone needs, and who knows how much longer he has left. Why can't Stephen Ross call up John Harbaugh, who clearly is not going to want this job, and say $50 million a year? $50 million a year. Why can't? What? There's no salary cap.
I think he'd take it.
Like
then.
if Ross wants him, he's not going to turn down $50 million a year. Why doesn't he do it?
I think he's going to go for the best situation, which largely means the best quarterback.
Even if Ross offered $50 million a year,
that's ridiculous money.
Why is it ridiculous?
Because he's not going to do it. It's crazy.
I guess my question is, why wouldn't he do it?
I hear you.
If you believe it's that valuable, like if you believe he brings all the things Greg seems to think that he believes, it would be worth that.
May I bring something up? If we were having these conversations last year, I guarantee you'd be having this same conversation, not with John Harbaugh, but with Bill Belichick. Yep. And that's what a Dolphin fan is.
I feel like I did that last year with Belichick.
Probably did.
The lack of stability here is a giant problem. The turnover, the fact that you don't trust ownership, the fact that the one thing that's been in place the entirety of the 25 years is the owner that you can blame. An owner I wouldn't blame right now if he tried to hire Brian Flores again.
I pitched that in the middle of the season, Dan.
How would that phone call
Brian
go?
Flores would, when you were looking for leadership guy, a guy who's had the experience and learning from that first experience to come back better and stronger than before, doing it with another franchise, learning from a head coach that's able over there. Why not Brian Flores?
Because the Dolphins have a million problems, and defensive coordinator's not one of them. Anthony Weaver's very good. He's already interviewed for the head coaching job in at least one city. That's not your problem.
Well, and when you talk about, by the way, McDaniel, like, can he coach the rest of the team? He brought in a good defensive coordinator. That defense that Dan thought was going to be historically bad got better and better throughout the season.
Jeremy, isn't that a Harbaugh guy, the defensive coordinator that he brought in?
I want to show the audience a couple of photos here of Ed Orgeron and a haggard-looking Wayne Gretzky and ask the audience which of these two people look like they're closer to becoming Greg Cody. We've got Ed Orgeron here looking strong.
Symmetrically, the face is closed.
The face is round. It looks like there are things inside of Orgeron's cheeks trying desperately to get out. Now put up Wayne Gretzky here.
Oh, wow, I see it there too.
The great one.
Miami did that. That was Miami.
He's got the Gretzky color more.
What's with the eyebrow?
Yeah, that's...
Greg, do you have a nominee here between the two on who you think
I
looks
would rather
more
be,
like you?
Yeah, I would rather be likened to that Wayne Gretzky photo than to that
Not what
Ed
I
Orgeron
asked you. I didn't ask you who would you prefer to look like. I asked you who looked more like they were on the route to being someone who looked like you.
Sadly, probably Ed Orgeron.
Sadly.
Being
He looks great, I think.
Ed looks great. You got to get the whole picture, though, with Ed.
And look at him in the UM shirt. Come on.
It's a rounder face, right? I believe that Gretzky's face is a little bit too streamlined in order to be your face.
Uncle Dick used to call Greg the point because his head kind of, comes to a point, and that's what Ed Orgeron has that going on.
No, but Ed Orgeron looks like the woman that your lesbian aunt's been bringing to Thanksgiving for the last 30 years.
I'm going to use a Greg Cody word, amalgamation. Let's mix both Gretzky and Orgeron together.
Put them together. Do that, guys.
Have AI do that.
Jeremy, I'm kind of proud.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Does Ed Orgeron look like the woman your lesbian aunt has been bringing to Thanksgiving for the last few years?
Also, cut up me trying to say Ed Orgeron.
I thought we supported you there.
So long.
We left you alone. We just moved past it.
I appreciate
you
that,
gave
but
up
we
on
couldn't.
yourself in the
We have
middle
to
of
go
it.
back.
You
We
gave
have to
up
go back to
on
that.
yourself in the middle of it, and we just moved on because it was too low-hanging fruit. It's just too easy.
I'm genuinely worried about your psyche, so I did not want to laugh at it that time.
You know what's funny? Go ahead and get me stuttering on the matriculate. It's not quite that funny because it happened to me a handful of times, not with matriculate on the Christmas break, and I am wondering if something is like short-circuiting in the wiring, in that I am stumbling on some of these words in common speech where I don't have a reference point for something like this happening to my brain. Matriculate the ball down the field.
Thank God you're not the one that said Brobdingnagian. Which, by the way, rough count of 14 letters on that, not 15, Roy. So rough count of 14 there.
It's a beautiful 5-syllable word.
Should I not be worried that things are coming from my brain into my mouth and doing this without me being able to control it? Matriculate the ball down the field.
Truthfully, yes, you should be worried.
Yeah.
I am.
But good content. I think.
Yeah.
I think
No,
we
we're
can
all
agree.
just going to laugh at you and point when you suffer a stroke.
The Chuck Knobloch of speech.
Have we gotten Adam Archuleta yet?
Efforting.
Okay, well, hurry up.
I mean, we
about it.
literally just came up with this idea.
I
Give us a minute.
understand, but I want to get.
I love this, though. Let's fix the Dolphins.
Let's fix the Dolphins by calling random broadcasters and asking them if they will do for free for us what the Dolphins are paying Troy Aikman a substantive amount of money. Like Troy Aikman's probably calling Ross today. Hey, call Harbaugh, right?
Hey,
I would be.
Actually, is he just sending a text? Is Aikman just sending a text? Hey, I got an idea, John Harbaugh.
Ross is just like, worth every cent.
Next up, DLS favorite Brad Williams.
Now, Dan, imagine what you just experienced being a 6-foot whatever man. Now put that in a 4-foot man as I'm trying to cross the street last night, looking at certain puddles going, this could be it. This could be where I go because the water was moving very fast. I forgot my floaties. I can't swim. I have a very large head that sinks. I have a very fat butt that floats. That's not good for swimming. I'm very nervous. Florida is not a good climate for me.
He instantly goes upside down.
I do. I turn into a fly girl in a club, just face down, ass up, like that's me. Instantly in a puddle. Here lies Brad, killed by puddle. That could happen.
Brad Williams makes me laugh all the time, but rarely as much as when he's greeting Mike Golick and they are doing that shoulder handshake, and Mike Golick has to get down and Brad Williams has to climb up. Why didn't you just go in for a straight handshake
Because
to say hello?
because then I nut tap him. Because if I go straight handshake, there's the possibility. And by the way, how much, Gojo, were you just holding back? You're like, if I go full shoulder into this guy, he may evaporate into Skittles.
I was more thinking on if I went to pull in, because we went the dap with the hug.
Yeah.
And so there's that pull in the middle, and I was like, are we going to airlift Brad right now? Is this going to end up being like a swinging situation?
Did you go football mentality, low man wins, I'm not going to let this guy beat me.
That is true. I thought about just getting all the way down.
You got down pretty low. I thought you were going to throw out your back.
I was Jason Kelsey tush push status trying to get down on all fours there. It was good.
And now I'm realizing realizing that I missed my calling as an O lineman.
God, could you
Low
imagine
man wins.
the Brad Williams-led tush push? Unstoppable.
Well, not only was it funny because visually that was funny, you were also interrupting a story of Brad Williams kicking a one-legged man out of his last show. That's the story that you
I
interrupted.
did. I did. There is no love lost between people who share parking in the handicapped space. He was gone. Get out of my show, sir.
Now, did you know he was one-legged before you kicked him out?
I did not. I did not.
So when he gets up,
I was in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and where all the one-legged people hang out. And the guy was talking way too much, and it's the worst kind of heckler to me. I will gladly take a heckler that yells out "F you" more than a guy that loves me but is just talking too loud and commenting on every joke and be like, "That's so true when you did that." Like, God damn it.
That's a great joke, Brad Williams.
Yeah,
that's a great joke. You're killing it, Brad.
That's what I'm doing. It's like he's encouraging me, but it's like your mom clapping too loud in the stands. Like, "Mom, shut up! I can do this." And so I talked to him. He's like, "Hey, I paid good money to get in here," and I like, "Dude, you gotta shut up." And I finally had to kick him out. So he stands up and he does the walk. And when he walks, the pant leg goes up. And I see the shiny metal underneath. And I'm like, oh no. Oh, no. And I kind of, and then because I can't filter thoughts, I go, you have one leg, sir?
Oh, so you just decided to play with the cards up.
Let's go. And then he turns and goes, yep. And I was like, am I kicking out a soldier? Did you serve? And he goes, "Nah, car accident." And I'm like, okay, get like, if it's a soldier, then yeah. But I
So do you guys know how many times the Arizona Cardinals have made the playoffs in their 106 seasons as a franchise? Because I don't expect any of you to know that answer.
Twice.
But it is 11 playoff appearances in 106 years. Harbaugh had 12 in 18 seasons with the Ravens. So it's a little harder to do than people think. I'm stunned that the guest bookers have indeed. I just thought Archuleta is a great name to say. It's a fun name to say. And I didn't think that they'd produce him quite this quickly. But Adam Archuleta is indeed there, ready to give us all the advice we need on how it is to fix the Dolphins. Can you just throw together some cruddy imaging as fast as you can that introduces this new segment, How to Fix the Dolphins?
Let's fix the Dolphins. 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 Let's fix the Dolphins. Fix the Dolphins. Fix the Dolphins. Do it like Aikman.
Aikman alphabetically is before Archuleta, but Archuleta is a broadcaster whose help we need to fix the Dolphins. Former first-round pick, obviously a safety in the league for many years. And he's the one of the voices in the AFC South, a member of the famous AFC South group chat that Mike Ryan has not been included in. So we are pleased to have him here. How would you, sir, thank you for being with us, how would you fix the Dolphins?
Well, first, you forgot to throw in their connoisseur of really awful backup quarterback play. And I think we've graduated from the AFC South now that Jacksonville is so good. We're now part of the quasi AFC North, AFC East crew. So you got to add that into my introduction.
Okay, I'm sorry I introduced you poorly. You didn't answer my question at all.
Listen, I mean, the Dolphins, where do you start? I mean, you're in contract hell. You got to figure out your quarterback situation. Did I mention you were in contract hell? You got to get the GM and the head coach on the same page. There's a lot of fun stuff that you got to do down in South Florida.
I feel like that's exactly what Aikman is being paid to tell Stephen Ross.
100%.
Like
it may sound ridiculous to you, but this is what Troy Aikman probably said. Man, where do you start?
It is. And look, there's a lot of haves and there's a lot of have-nots in the NFL. And if you are saddled with a quarterback, a hole at quarterback, and you're saddled with salary cap quarterback hell, then that is a really, really tough place to start. Until you figure that out, then it's going to be an uphill battle for sure.
Adam, does it bother you that we want you to do for free what Troy Aikman's getting paid a lot of money likely for?
You know what? In a way it does a little bit, but you got to understand. You've got to understand where I'm at in life. I have a great gig. I've done well in life, but as far as analysts go, I'm not a quarterback. I'm not a Hall of Famer. So I'm kind of like the redheaded stepchild of analysts.
Oh, you look great.
So I do a lot of things for a lot less money than the quarterbacks do. So I'm kind of used to it. That's kind of part of my deal. And doing stuff for free, I guess, is kind of my wheelhouse.
So, Adam, if you were being paid to advise Stephen Ross, are you telling him today, nah, stick with Mike McDaniel? Or are you telling him, go after John Harbaugh?
But you're doing it very poorly, I should say, as an advice giver. When you come in, instead of forcefully telling us what it is he should do, you're saying, well, where do you start? And it's a hell of an uphill battle. Like yep.
We need confidence.
Conviction.
We need you to tell us what to do.
Shoot the gap.
Yeah, you go after guys that have done it, and you go after program builders. And listen, on one hand, I do like getting some new blood in the building, guys that are young, that guys have a different creative mind. And you tried that with McDaniel. Look, I like what Liam Cohen has done in Jacksonville, and I like what some of these young guys have to offer. So, yes. Is there a fancy, what would the new coach have to do in Miami, similar to the
Doral.
Is that what it is?
Ballet.
Mike, before you get out of here, I know you've wanted to talk to Adam for a while because you want to be a part of this group chat.
Yeah, Adam, I'm hopping on a bird right now to your old stomping grounds for the Fiesta Bowl, but I was so excited to hear your name pop up because Spiro Didi's made me a promise, and I take someone's word very seriously. In his last appearance, he promised that I could get added to this AFC South group chat. One of my passions is watching Spiro and Adam on the call of AFC South games and hearing Mo Alley Cox and the Jigs. The Jigs. Please, can you find it in your heart to actually add me to this group chat? I love the AFC South boys.
I'm cool with it, but we changed the name.
Okay, I'll be an AFC East boy.
It's like AFC East North. I think actually we changed it just recently the other day to Solid 5 Crew, or the number one fifth crew. I think is what we are.
So change it to Mo Alley Cox and let me rip that thing.
Yes. What about Spin Cycle Crew?
I'm with it. All I'm going to be doing is sending Mo Alley Cox gifs. That's what I bring to the table. I'm a vibes guy.
You're in.
All right, don't you lie. Make a promise.
Oh, congrats.
Make a promise.
Give me. You're in. You know what? First, hold on. I gotta clear it with Aditi. Just kind of make sure that she's cool with it. But as long as you bring something to the table, you know what I mean? Like you gotta be able to bring it.
I can to your jokes with the best of them. Thumbs up. You got it.
I need creative sticker.
Dude.
Some creative stickers and some, the new thing is you got to be really good with some great grok image creation and animation. So if you can bring that to the table, that is welcome. And I'll vouch for you.
Oh, dude, this chat is about to level up.
Adam, thank you for being on with us.
Did we fix them?
Appreciate the insights. I feel like we have fixed the Dolphins, and we have brought an assortment of things to a table. So those are good things.
So give
Adam,
him my number.
Thank you. Yes, you're going to have to talk to him off air about getting the number. You wanted to say something, Adam?
I just feel like I added zero value to the conversation and zero insight. So
it means you did your
job. As long as that's cool with you. I mean, That's what you get when you give advice for free and you're not paid for it. All right.
I feel like that's the same advice the Dolphins are paying for. I don't feel like they're getting any better for their dollar than we're getting for our lack of dollars.
I'm just saying, I appreciate contributing to nothing, and anytime you guys want me to come in, I'm good for it.
Greg, I believe that would have been a good time to use the telestrator to just draw things on Adam Archuleta's face. Have you forgotten that you have the telestrator?
Yeah, I did forget.
you
Hang
did
on.
forget.
Where's
It's our first day with the telestrator,
that's
Adam.
right now. He's gone now.
Oh, he's gone. Okay.
He's still there.
Adam,
There we go.
yeah, he's still here now. There
the
you
arrow
go.
through the head.
Yes,
You're going to that
nice,
move again.
Nice,
Okay.
nicely done.
Steve Martin.
Steve Martin, yes. Adam, thank you for playing along. We do appreciate it. We're going to try and do it every day until the Dolphins get it fixed. Appreciate it.
I can't wait. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
I love that guy.
Success.
He was so good on American Idol, too.
That was a success, unlike the Miami Dolphins for the last 25 years. Can we get, please, something that I saw yesterday that I didn't think could be done by a human being? Can we get Wemby, please, kicking some basketballs out of a basketball net?
It felt like AI to me.
At Le Batard Show, do you believe, the poll should be, do you believe a human being can kick the basketball rim? That any human being can kick a basketball rim? Because this is as close as I have ever seen a human being being able to almost kick.
He could definitely kick
And
the rim.
spoiler alert,
Absolutely he could.
it's Wemby.
Yeah,
for the audio audience.
It's Wemby, and there are 4 or 5 basketballs stuck in the netting, and he just, instead of knocking it out with his hands, he jumps up and he knocks it out with his feet.
He's doing it from a standstill. He could definitely kick the rim.
And he could have just stood there and hit it, unlike just about any other human being. He
I mean,
wouldn't have had to jump.
His foot was his foot was a foot short, I'd say, of the rim.
Only
so
because it hit the basketball.
that looked like he was getting full extent. Like, I don't know if he could do the rim.
But he wasn't trying to hit the rim. He was only trying
You're
to
saying
get
a little
the bottom
crow
of
hop,
the net.
little crow hop or something.
I mean, he's doing a Karate Kid crane kick there. Give him a couple steps to get some momentum.
You guys understand the question, though. Like, so you've now seen it, and you have some context. It wasn't very long ago that this was an unknown person in France. Here's Wemby standing next to Shaq,
Making Shaq look like me,
and dwarfing Shaquille O'Neal.
Shaq is so big.
Yeah, that's the only comment anyone ever makes. No, Jeremy, I'm not kidding you, okay? Anytime I've been with Shaq, what ends up happening around Shaq is people walk away from him muttering, he's so big.
He's got to be tired of that.
But it's also like, how is that not obviously what you came in with as information on Shaquille O'Neal to still be stunned by it? If you watched the Minnesota game last night,
Those other players are actually standing.
If you saw the Minnesota game last night, you saw that Rudy Gobert and the athleticism of the Timberwolves defense was a huge problem for everything the Miami Heat were doing. To see Wemby dwarf Rudy Gobert, I would have thought 2 years ago, if you had asked me, and I had no introduction to there's a 7'7" person in France, is there a human being who can kick a basketball rim? My answer would have been absolutely under no circumstances has there ever been a human being who can do that. Wouldn't that have been your answer?
Yes.
Of course. Would anybody, like, is there any context? Who would be second place on this list of people that you think would come close to being able to kick a basketball
I mean,
rim?
take like Yao, for instance. Yao was, what, 7'4",
No,
7'5"?
but can't move
There's
like that.
no
Yeah.
way he'd be able to come close to kicking the rim.
I think maybe someone who's literally doing a full backflip where their entire body was flipped
bicycle
the
kick.
other way. But the crazy part is Wemby is just kicking one leg in the air. The other leg is near the ground. It's the flexibility that's freakish. This is a 7'6" person who can palm the ground and do the splits. Like, no one is like this. It's the reason, like, he spent time at a monastery in the offseason. He is a absolute freak of nature, and mentally he's that way too. It's so cool.
That's crazy.
Look at him.
Greg,
Doing
do
a
a
split.
Go do a split like that. Is your knee? I know you're getting back into bowling, but could you do that split?
Yeah, no, not really.
His split is definitely taller than me, right?
Yes.
By the way, don't kick the rim because what a way to get injured. Your foot gets caught in the net.
Does seem reckless.
I mean, it's the most dangerous thing I've ever seen.
Good point.
So Mike Ryan has just fled the facility because he is rushing out to the Fiesta Bowl.
Gotta hop on a bird.
A place that is haunting for the University of Miami. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Douche or no douche? Guy who calls a plane a bird and says he's got to hop on a bird when he could just say, I've got to catch a flight. And why do people do that?
Sounds better.
I'm for it.
Because he's Mike.
Why does Adam Archuleta bring things to a table? Why does everybody bring? Why are things being brought to a table when people are talking about what other people add to a community?
I'm not going to put it on the floor. I mean, where else am I going to bring
I
something?
can just imagine people sitting around a table having a good time. Hey, how you doing?
Bring it to the counter. Doesn't hit the same.
So is it because you're serving a meal? Is that why things are being brought to a table? Because people are served at a table, and so you're bringing an assortment of wonders to a table?
Let's
That's the reason that we're doing it?
You hate a potluck, Dad. You don't like when other people bring food to your house.
Well, as long as they clear it with me first. I don't like the unannounced food delivery.
Can I say something that happened before the show today that I found genuinely shocking, even though I've known Greg Cody for, I'm going to say, 45 years. 40 years I've known Greg Cody. Even by his behavior's standards, even by his general entitlement as he's aged, I don't know if you saw this happen because you may have been getting dressed, Zaslow.
I was watching.
No, this was stunning.
Watching what?
This
Watching
was
him get
stunning to me.
dressed.
How many people saw what I'm about to describe that happened before the show? Roy, were you there? Did you see what happened with Greg Cody before the show? Because I was legitimately shocked by the amount of entitlement in it.
I think I did. Yes, I believe I did.
All right. So you'd know if you saw it because it was it was stupefying. So Greg Cody has that thermos, and that thermos is filled with coffee, and he dropped it on the floor, and there was a giant puddle at his feet. And he just stood there waiting for someone else to clean it. Didn't make a move or a gesture as if he had any intention of going to grab anything that would clean the stain that was now spilling at his feet, all around his feet, because it was a lot. It was leaking. He did bend over and stop it from leaking by picking it up, but then nothing else other than wiping a wet foot of his,
making it worse,
on the carpet, making everything worse. He waited for others, never made a move.
Why do you do that?
It's the entitlement of age. You know, when you drop something, you expect your juniors, one of your juniors, to come to your aid.
Who in particular would you have said should be the one?
I complimented Jeremy earlier because I don't take these things lightly. In fact, I've included Jeremy in my will because of his kind gesture. Jeremy leapt to the rescue and immediately grabbed a bunch of paper towels and cleaned up my mess. Did I appreciate it? Of course I did.
Did he show you appreciation?
He did later on. Not in the moment, but afterward, we were standing in the commissary together, and my fellow Hee Haw 3 member turned to me and said, Jeremy, I really appreciate what you did for me. I don't take these things lightly, as he just said now on the show. Now, would have been nice for a little help, but I do appreciate the appreciation.
Honest to God, I was confused because I would think that the general shame and embarrassment of being in front of a bunch of people and spilling something would immediately, just as an instinct, make someone try to clean it up just because they were embarrassed. The fact that he does not have this chip and just stood there staring ahead, waiting for a servant, a butler, a janitor, somebody to appear with cleanup equipment without ever having the reflex, the instinctual reflex that I think any human being would have, even if they spilled something, with no one watching. Like, even if you're just a human being who was by yourself, the fact that he was surrounded by people not only didn't produce the shame that I expected, it produced the entitlement of somebody else will do this. I'd have to do it if I were by myself, but because I'm surrounded by people, clearly someone else will handle this for me.
Well, you hit that on the head.
You do this in the kitchen a lot when you're cooking with Mom. Because you do this thing where you're in charge of the meal, but you will assign things. Mom, you're in charge of the biscuits.
Yes.
If Mom puts those biscuits in the oven while she's helping you with all your different things, if you look in, you see those biscuits are done. Erlene, you won't just grab the biscuits out. You're like, I'm not doing that. That's Erlene's task.
Right.
I'll just stare at the biscuits.
Yeah, because I have
Even though
delegated
she's
the
helped
biscuits.
you, she stirred your corn a little bit. She checked on your turkey. But when it comes to you helping with the biscuits, it's Erlene. The biscuits.
Okay,
I can't touch these. I assigned them to you.
Did I ask her to stir my corn?
But it's all about when you're in the kitchen.
did
We're all
not.
cooks helping each other. You could just grab the biscuits.
Corn elder. No, I didn't ask her to do that. So, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the other one? What number is that kind of thing going to be in the top 50? Greg
That's
Cody?
a top 5.
That's got to be,
That's
yeah.
a top 5.
Don't give it away.
I don't want to give her anything away.
What was the one, Dad, that you added this morning to because we're still adding phrases to the master
What do you
list.
mean?
That's what trust me, I'm so annoyed. He started 49 and 50 without having the list completed.
Let me give the context to
Think
the
about
listeners who might not have
they
any
all
idea
listen.
what we're talking about. The Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody.
With.
For the next 25 weeks in a row, we'll unveil 2 at a time Greg Cody's signature catchphrases, starting this week with number 50, Fuller than Vern Fuller, and number 49, Can I Hear a Click Click?
No, where's my click
Come
click?
on.
Where's my click, click?
Sorry.
Ba-da-da-da-da, there's my click click.
That's when he wants somebody in the back seat of his car to fasten a seatbelt. Forgive me for forgetting that catchphrase that I thought I learned yesterday.
If you don't do the "Where's my click click," is that just like someone who you don't value?
Fine.
If they don't click, you mean?
If you're not asking, if you don't care enough about them to say, "Where's my click?"
Well,
click?
I'm not going to do it to an adult. Like if you're in my back seat, I'm not going to go, "Where's my click click?" I'm going to assume that you're going to buckle the belt without being
Oh, so
told.
this is a helpful
for
children.
kids.
This is
It's for kids.
This is children's music.
It's for toddlers and
he
up
did it in
until
my
that-
childhood, and he does it to my daughter now.
Can you imagine an adult's reaction? Gets in the back seat of his car and he says that.
Can you imagine any other adult in the world spilling coffee at their feet and expecting a whole bunch of other people to come pick it up? Like, that's the behavior of a dictator.
Well, a lot of coffee spilled because it was fuller than Vern Fuller.
Thank you.
So the two phrases added to the spreadsheet where Greg can now see where they're going to be in. It's dancing swords and nocturnal meanderings.
Dancing swords is sneaky. That's a sneaky good phrase.
It's whenever you have to take a QK.
Yeah, right.
QK also in there.
Yeah, dancing swords. I got to credit a friend of mine for inventing that, the late great Alan Cherry.
A lot of these come from Alan Cherry.
No, I wouldn't say a lot.
Can you tell people what a QK is? Because it's a quick crap.
K?
Like, you need
Right.
yes,
K?
yes.
Throughout my whole life, whenever my dad's got to go potty, he tells my mom, "Hey, I got to take a QK."
So you have dancing swords when you need a QK.
And dancing swords is that feeling in your stomach that it feels like you have swords in your
Oh,
stomach.
there are QKs without dancing swords, but there's never a dancing sword without a QK.
Put that on the poll.
I believe
Like a square and a rhombus.
I believe that most people listening to this have heard the expression "dancing swords." I
Really?
think that dancing swords is something. Dancing swords is something that people say about the stomach. I didn't
know that.
I don't think that one is unique to
I don't
you.
think I've heard that
Look
before.
it
I
up.
haven't- no,
Look up stomach and dancing swords and see if anything comes up there, Jeremy. Because I thought that was a known expression, but it may just be a known expression because I've heard Greg Cody use it since he was
That's
taking
what it is, Dan.
QKs in the Herald bathroom
Correct.
many years
He's
ago.
changed your belief in the American language because all that comes up is like belly dancing.
Yeah, I invented that. Actually, my friend.
Yeah, you said Alan did.
Alan did, but I inherited that from him.
Did you wait till he passed to start saying it?
No, I honored him during his time on Earth by incorporating into my lexicon.
Rest in power.
This is what I
Yes.
will tell you guys about Greg's phrase "nocturnal meanderings." I was at his 40th birthday party the first time I heard that phrase to refer to sex. He was trying to make sure that everyone that was there understood that he was talking about sex when he mentioned nocturnal, nighttime, and meanderings. And I spoke next, and I just asked him, people do have sex. during the day, right? Like that, it's something that hadn't dawned on him. Like he was already at the age where he's like, sex is only something that people have at night. It's not something that you do when the lights are on, when there's any light.
Sunlight.
Anyway, when there's any light anywhere in the vicinity, it's only something after a dozen beers that happens in the quiet of the dark, under the blankets. Like there cannot be any light wherever it is that there are meanderings.
I mean, we all turn the lights off, no? Or is that just me? All right.
Close the blinds.
I mean, there is a song written about me called Morning Man, so it doesn't only happen at night. But I am willing to say nocturnal meandering is a thing. You know, most people associate sex with a nighttime activity, I think. I may be wrong.
When you mentioned morning, you made me think of something that I thought of during the break. I'm flipping through the channels, and I'm pretty mortified. I've talked about this before. The amount of content that is either cult-related or specifically murder-related right now is crazy to me. Just the sheer volume of murder-related content.
I don't get those shows.
Yeah, well, you don't get them, as in you don't understand why people are watching.
Yeah, I don't have interest. I don't like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's super dark and super strange. But I think it was the Oxygen channel I was flipping through, and I was stunned on Christmas Day to see a show that was titled Homicide for the Holidays and then was called Christmas Morning, spelled Mourning. And I'm like, you have to be shitting me. This is just a very strange thing that's happening right now in our country, where there is so much mass coverage of murder that people are enjoying, that people have realized that this is a content entity that is obviously profitable. And I don't get it either. Like, I'll occasionally watch the Jinx to see if there's a mystery involved. And I know that much of this is mystery based. Like the proliferation of the podcast industry has a ton of this stuff in it, where people like following the mystery that leads to murder. And I know that people find murder curious all the time, but there can't be another time in American history that has it as a content source the way that we have it now. Like, there can't be anything close to this in terms of people just paying money or spending this much time watching and listening to things that have to do with murder.
Where did it start? I feel like it was that How to Make a Murderer. Wasn't that
It was
Netflix?
the Serial podcast first, I believe, in terms of the timing. But yeah, Making a Murderer,
Yeah.
I believe, was the first one that I remember hitting like that on streaming, because now it was just access to all this information.
Yeah, like I remember my wife and my older son were watching the Dahmer, docudrama, and I was like, this ain't for me. I don't know why you guys like this stuff.
Yeah, there's always been a fascination with crime in this country, and a morbid fascination. And you mentioned Dahmer. Serial killers have groupies. They get mail in prison. You know what I'm saying? Like there are certain people who are just drawn to crime. And you mentioned podcasts.
Isn't Manson like the most famous one, right?
Yeah, it's a cult thing.
So weird.
Yeah, I mean it's beyond weird. But
I'm really into the cult stuff and into the serial killer stuff, just not the random murders. Like the one-off murders, they're too sad. The serial killer stuff, I'm just fascinated by the mind, right? Like I find all, like Mindhunter, the TV show, canceled way too soon. That was fascinating. All those documentaries about like the successful serial killers.
Yeah, but like Mindhunter's a show, you know.
But it went into the real. But it went into the real serial killers. Like they end up interviewing people who were playing those serial killers, and that's why you have shows where you'll have like OJ Made in America. You'll have the documentary, but then you'll also have the dramatized version, because people can't get enough. That's a one-off situation.
I don't like the stuff that's real.
But I find especially the cult stuff. Like I don't understand how you don't find that interesting.
No,
manipulation of the mind.
I'm interested in the cult stuff. The cult stuff also often has murder in it.
Well,
because
yeah, that's always the end destination.
They're combining the two. Now, I will awkwardly segue, though, into some football conversation here that I did want to have with you guys because there are a number of interesting things this weekend to pay attention to.
From the Colts to the Colts.
Well, if the Colts were in the playoffs, yeah, but they are not, unfortunately. So
line.
that doesn't really work. But thank you for the help there. I do I appreciate that. And the gunslinger dance that you just did, putting your finger guns in your holster. But the thing that I wanted to ask all of you from the games this weekend, what are the most interesting things to you that are the games themselves, but also other things involved with the games that you are interested in? For example, DK Metcalf came really close, not just to costing himself $45 million in guarantees, but costing Pittsburgh the ability to be in the playoffs and possibly ending Aaron Rodgers' career. But more quietly, Denzel Perriman missed 2 games for the Chargers. The Chargers are playing against the Patriots. I'm super interested in that game for a number of different reasons. The only place I've seen Justin Herbert be truly terrible is in Foxborough against Belichick. Everywhere else, he's great, but his offensive line really stinks. It's an offensive line that does not belong in the playoffs. It's the worst of the offensive lines in the playoffs. It's a big ask of Justin Herbert. But Denzel Perriman is returning to action after missing 2 games. And I wanted you to look up for me, if you don't mind, Jeremy, what was found, the specifics of what was found in Denzel Perriman's car earlier this year when police pulled him over, because this is a man who is terrifying, okay? He went to the University of Miami. He is physically violent. He's a great football player. The Chargers are getting him back. He makes a difference because he's a great deal of fun to watch. But I remember reading about him earlier this season and wondering to myself, under what circumstances or why would you have to have those particular things in your car driving around? Because I don't know the specifics of this case. Can you help me with the specifics of? I don't remember whether or not he was actually arrested. I don't think there was a crime involved here. It just made me super curious about what's going on in this person's life, that this is the kind of artillery that this person is driving around with.
He faced no criminal charges, but he was arrested for a felony weapons charge because when he was pulled over for a vehicle code violation, they discovered 5 firearms in his car, including 2 assault rifles.
So under what circumstances, I remember Hassan Whiteside one time got in trouble down here because they found a gun in his car that was not even just a simple handgun. It was a machine gun, I
Remember
think.
Ryan Tannehill's wife?
Yep.
She had like a whole arsenal in her trunk.
But is that someone who's just a gun enthusiast who's coming back from the gun range? Like why would you need 5 guns in your car, and why would 2 of them need to be assault rifles? Like what under what circumstance do you imagine any of you driving around with that in your car? Because I can understand, one, to protect yourself. In fact, there are many athletes who do this because, told you this story before, Anton Jameson would often on the way home circle several times around his home to make sure no one was following him, because people know that athletes have money and people know that they can take money from athletes, although now that no one's carrying cash, I think that you have to actually now abduct.
Send me a Venmo.
You have to abduct the athlete in order to get what you wanted. But in a previous time, people knew that they could grab the jewelry or grab things of value from the car. So athletes do have to be careful driving home. But
is it like scan this QR code and send me your money right now?
Is that your threatening?
I'm just saying, like, instead of give me all your money, it's like I have a QR code that they pull all your camera.
But that's your carjacking voice. That's your threatening carjacking.
Scan
voice.
this code and send me all your money. Don't tell anyone.
Wait a minute. There's Biden in there.
Call it a lunch.
Why is Joe Biden?
Because you have to put a little thing in the description of why you're sending it. Right. Say we had an aggressive lunch and a weekend retreat. Scan it.
None of you have an answer to my question as to why
a gun range.
You're asking the wrong group of people, Dan.
I think you nailed it. A gun range. That's all I got.
Why have an assault rifle? Period.
Growing up, my mom was wary of me going to friends' houses that had BB guns. I think you're asking the wrong group.
You shoot your eye out.
That was a thing in my household too. Going to a home
overprotective
that has a
Jewish
gun.
mother.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
I had
right.
an air rifle as a kid. That was a lot of fun. It didn't shoot anything but air, but it sounded like a gun going off. That was great. Gun culture is run amok in this country, obviously. That's why people look at the First Amendment and they say, that means I have to have assault rifles. And athletes are just a slice of Americana. If we're crazy about guns in America, why wouldn't athletes, some of them, be crazy about
Second
guns?
Amendment.
Yeah, it's a fun.
Whatever.
Well, I think it probably matters.
Second Amendment is right. Yeah, people are crazy about both amendments. You know, you can't yell fire in a movie.
I think people are into all of them.
Can't yell fire.
Well, not all of them.
You can.
Nobody even knows what the other amendments are, right? It's the first and the second get all the credit.
The fifth one's a pretty big one.
The fifth one, yeah, the fifth one.
25th
Just
one.
lean
we're
back.
Discussing.
Take a load off.
Oh no, we're good.
You're so good on this subject that I can see where you'd be maximum confident and swaggering
Right.
about your ability to deftly navigate this particular landscape when you go, whatever, the difference between the First and Second Amendment, and then you just say flatly, no one knows any of the amendments.
All right, Dad, Jeremy's got him. Why don't you rattle them off for us?
What's the Fourth Amendment?
Oh, you give them to us. Take a guess.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard
What do you think the
Show.
third is?
Does anyone know any of the amendments other than the First, Second, and what'd you say, Fifth Amendment? You said that those are the three that everyone knows.
The Fifth Amendment. You know, you don't have to incriminate yourself.
That's the big three.
Yeah, that's the big
All
three.
right, so does anyone? All right,
What's the 11th Amendment?
All right,
Nobody
and
knows.
then also put in there at Le Batard Show. Do any of you know 4 amendments? Does anyone listening to this know 4 of the amendments?
Is there like a PGA champion, like the 4th one that's not really a major, but it should be in there?
I mean, we should all probably know the 13th.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the 13th.
I'm listening.
Slavery, being abolished. And
I
whatnot.
don't think
an
you
ally.
should go Roy there. I don't think you need.
I
to
mean, who
say
else is going to say it,
No,
Dan?
but he just
Jeremy
said
could have
Roy.
come in here and
Jeremy
say
could
it?
have said
I'm
it.
saying he could have thrown it to you without saying Roy.
That's fair. You know what? Ball on me, Coach.
He could have just thrown it to
Little
the room
heavy-handed.
instead of just saying Roy. You know all about slavery.
Just gonna power through this one. You know, the third, it restricts the quartering of soldiers in private homes. It's really
What an
crazy, right?
Unnecessary amendments. Ridiculous.
Unnecessary.
What's number 4?
Number 4 prohibits unreasonable searches and seizures without a search
I like
warrant.
that one.
That's okay, but I'm gonna quarter a soldier in my home if I want to.
Well, no, that it's the other way around.
Like
a soldier
capturing.
can't. A soldier can't just say, "Hey, I live in your home now."
Why would he?
You didn't get squatters' rights?
And you guys thought this wasn't the room to have the gun conversation with, so we just segued seamlessly into this being the room to have the amendments conversation with,
Let's rank the amendments.
which starts off
Power
gloriously
rankings?
I wrote
by
13,
asking
number 1.
Roy what the 13th Amendment says.
We know 13's not in Greg's big three.
Oh, Dad.
You know, I don't know the. I'm being honest. I don't know all the amendments. I don't think many people do. The Third Amendment was ridiculously arcane. It applies to like centuries ago when
Well, so does the
Minutemen
Second
were wanting to stay in my house. You know, let them go get a motel like everybody else. Right? A Minuteman trying to knock on my door? Can't get up the street, Jack. You got a gun on his shoulder?
A bayonet.
Bayonet? Yeah. Gunpowder? Putting gunpowder in
Saying
his gun.
war
Ridiculous.
things.
The British are coming.
Yeah, they were.
Baby.
Please don't make that gesture anymore.
No, stop! Stop!
Around here, just so that you guys who are listening on audio can get a visual representation of what it is that Cody was doing. He was pantomiming the filling of a musket with gunpowder, packing it in so that a Minuteman who appears at his door can be quartered by him.
An inefficient HJ.
What are you drawing on the telestrator now?
It's a musket.
Oh, that's the
Everybody
musket.
knows
bow tie?
It looks like a bow tie.
That
It
could be a
looks-
lot of
It
things.
looks like the very end.
Why
of
is there
that
is there
inefficient
liquid
HJ.
coming out of the musket?
Wait a minute. That's not a musket.
Okay.
That's not a musket.
Let's take away what
Okay,
is that?
what is that? Now
that,
what
a
have
hug?
you done? Now what have you done? You had a musket that looked like a penis that then became what? What were you going for there? What were you going? Why am I asking questions? Let's just watch what he comes up with here. Let's see. Sorry to do this to you, audio audience. It's Mr. Peanut.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Peanut. Yeah.
Of course it is.
No, it isn't. It's former President Richard Nixon.
What?
Folks, DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 sportsbook for live betting, is turning up the stakes this NFL playoffs. Every Sunday, every DraftKings customer has a shot at over $2.5 million in prizes. Here's how it works. Open the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in, place a live bet of just $1 or more on Sunday's playoff games, and every live bet gives you another chance to win. The more you bet live, the more entries you stake. All Sunday long. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use code DAN. Bet live for your share of $2.5 million in prizes with code DAN in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Oof.